that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 2-hour weekly get-together where we bring you all the biggest news around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, of course, the wide world of sports. And folks, welcome to Thursday night, August the 13th in the year of our good Lord 2026. And I hope you guys have had a great weekend. It's been a busy week for me. Busy. I don't know where Jeff is. He hasn't popped up yet. Let me see. Yes, I will do that. Let me find out where Jeff is. I don't see him waiting. Hold on a second. Okay. Anyway, yeah, maybe he's in the bathroom. I'm not sure. That could be a while. Anyway, welcome to Thursday night, and we got a lot of talk. We have a lot to talk about this week. There is a lot of stuff in the world of sports and music, for that matter. So I hope you guys have had a good week. Like I said, it's been a hot, long week. How you doing, buddy? So we it tests the realm of my resolve. It was very easy to come home tonight and just go sit on the couch and relax and not do the show. There will be no show next week, so it kind of pushed me on to doing tonight's show. My company, we poured 900 yards of concrete in about 6 or 7 hours today. So I was out in the sun all day. It was very hot. Obviously a lot of issues that way. So it was a long and tiresome week of work, and very tiresome today. So but again, we'll do our best. Hopefully Jeff will pop up, and we'll talk a lot. We got some NFL news, we got Rush news, we got WNBA, Yankee Old Timers Day, Blaze Bailey and Iron Maiden, Tony Romo, WNBA, Motley Crue backing tracks. We got a lot of topics tonight. So, but I'm gonna kind of just I texted Jeff. Yep, he's coming on, so we'll give him a minute or two to get up here. While I'm at it, I like to do my politics before Jeff gets on because he's not a big politics guy. But I have to tell you, all of these DSA candidates out there who are coming close to winning, some of them winning, I just don't. I mean, I get the idea that people have a tough time making ends meet. I get it. I see it out there. I'm a little past it. I have the ability at this point in my life not to struggle paycheck to paycheck, and I'm grateful for it. I spent a lot of years of my life struggling paycheck to paycheck. But never once did I say, I'm struggling. Let's hope that they bring communism into this country. And that'll be better. You know what I did? I worked 3 jobs. I did everything I had to do to feed my family, take care of things until my life turned around. So when I see all these people, and to be fair, a lot of them with blue hair and nose rings and, 20 cats in the house, I say to them, just work hard. That's the best part of what our country, what we bring to the table, is if you work hard, you can succeed and you can be that person. Now, listen, you can work very hard and still not get to the top. That's just life. And having the government, control how much toilet paper you get, or when you can buy a chicken, or when the bread shows up at the store, ain't the answer. Less government is better than more government. And if you don't realize that, you're not paying attention. So what I don't want is my hard-earned money, more of my hard-earned money, going to the government of the United States or New York State or New Jersey. I don't want it. I want my money to come to me, and then let me go decide where to buy my bread and my chicken. That's the way it goes. Is this a perfect world? It is not. Is this a perfect country? It is not. There's a lot of issues, but it will not be fixed with communism, socialism, or any of the like. And you say the same thing to everybody. Okay, tell me where it's worked. Where is communism or socialism? Go ask the people of Cuba if they liked communism, socialism, whatever you want to brand it. How about the Venezuelan people? Russia? I got guys I work with, they tell you the stories all the time that they used to go down to the store, the whole family be online, and you're lucky if you got there and there was a one loaf of bread that you had to make last for weeks. Again, life's not perfect here, but it's a hell of a lot better than most places. There you go, Anthony. I couldn't agree more. So, when these people want to walk in and you want to listen, I mean, thank God she lost. This Hong woman out in Wisconsin, she wanted to get rid of Thanksgiving. They want to get rid of the presidency, get rid of the Senate. So what they're essentially saying is we want the Congress to be in charge. The Congress will pick the president. So we have a puppet regime, right? So the president will answer to Congress. None of it makes any sense. Yeah, I got it, Matt. And he does. And to get on Mondami, I hope, and he won't. I hope he has the decency to not show up to the 9/11 memorial. I hope it's September 11th, 25 years. I hope the guy has enough sense not to show up. Whether or not he's ever said anything bad about 9/11, I've never seen it. All his other actions, anti-police. Now all of a sudden he's pro-police. I'm not buying it. But just the fact that he hangs out with people like Hassan Piker, you can't backtrack from that. You can't sit on TV or wherever and say, oh, by the way, I know I said 5 years ago or 7 years ago or whatever that America deserved 9/11. I didn't really mean it. Sorry, folks. You can't backtrack. So, but all of you knuckleheads who want to vote for these people, I hope you get what you want. See, eventually I'll crawl into a little hole in Florida where it's safe, where they elect normal people, like when COVID hit and everybody was running here, and we go to Florida and you were allowed to walk into restaurants and not wear a mask, right? Nobody, where they didn't listen to Anthony Fauci, but keep voting DSA, keep voting for the Dems. You're ridiculous. But I see Jeff just popping up. So it's time to get to the show. We got a lot of football to talk about. We'll talk about Deshaun Watson, what happens with Shedeur Sanders. We'll talk Jets and Giants, strengths and weaknesses. Again, no show next week. When we come back, we're going to be coming down to the wire, getting ready for the season opener. We'll make our predictions that day. That'll be usually we open the show on the opening night of the NFL, which is usually a Thursday, but this year it's a Wednesday. So we'll be one game into the season by the time Jeff and I get on the air. So don't forget, Mondani is buddy with one of the people who planned it. Yes. There's actually a guy running for, I think it's Congress in New Jersey, who was the driver for the Blind Sheik. And he says that he didn't know. He never believed in the teachings. He was just driving. But then you go back and you look at the records and it shows that, he was a full-fledged man. But yet there are morons here in New Jersey who go, oh, Democrat, I'll vote for him. Okay? So keep voting for them. And eventually we're going to have a split country. And if you think I'm crazy, now it ain't going to happen for me. They're smart enough to kind of take their time, but they're doing it. They're forcing all the normal people out of New York, anybody who makes money, so that the government of New York, the city of New York, can take over all the buildings. They can take over all of the businesses. That's what they're doing. Pay attention. Really pay attention. Therefore, government stores will lose money, but they don't care. They'll drive out every bodega until the government will decide when you get your food. If you think I'm crazy, don't, because that's what happens. You don't spend $30 million to build a grocery store 3 years from now that will lose money unless you're trying to do something. And that is, I have a ton of money and I'm going to force all the other bodegas out, so you have no choice but to buy your stuff from me at inflated prices. So don't buy into it, but you're already doing it. But I'll be in Florida where we'll have plenty of bread and we'll have plenty of everything, and we'll send you pictures like this. Look what I got. So I hope you guys are smart enough to start. I don't care if the Republicans put a shoe out to vote for. Vote for the shoe, because the Democrats in their big tent suck. So, all right, that's now that Jeff's up, we can get the show officially started. And thank you. That was my PSA for the week. Anyway, so without further ado, let's bring on my buddy, the anchor, I say the anchor in two ways. One, he drags the show down, drags it on the water, but he also keeps us steady and locked in. Let's bring on my buddy of 40-something years, Mr. Jeff Black as Sabbath Tomlinski. And what's up, Jeff?
I received this text in a panic.
What panic?
About 10 minutes ago.
I just said you're showing up. I figured you would
it said, this is how I read it, and I know that I'm right. You coming on? You coming on?
Oh, yeah.
You coming on?
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, because you couldn't handle this without me. This is me.
Yes, this is you. Yes, I know. This is you.
And the people are tired of the wind that you're producing. And now there's some credibility has shown up. You bitch. The first thing that I'd like to talk about,
please,
is about 10 days ago. I beat your ass. 6 interceptions by your boy Jackson Dart.
100%.
Okay. Yep. Then just a few days ago, I fucking humiliated you. I felt so bad for you. When I shut the game off, my wife was watching TV. I laid my head in her lap and I cried.
Yeah.
And she said, "What's the matter?" I was like, "I just humiliated Tommy." I said, "I beat him like 27-6."
It was 30. It was 30-6, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, that was even worse.
Yes.
And then my wife actually had the balls. Believe it or not, my wife said, "He's such a bitch." And I'm like, I know.
Yeah, but folks, what I'm telling you is that for the last 6 months, I basically beat him in 2 different sports constantly. So the last couple, he's got my number. He definitely had my number. Beat me 2 in a row. But I guarantee you, including on his birthday in his house, I stomped him right in front of everybody. Just for
you beat me. First of all, for my birthday, I think you beat me 1-0. Second of all, if I remember correctly, I was destroyed.
First of all,
so I couldn't even hold the fucking controller like right.
Everybody's coming up and saying it now. It's excuses.
Where's that? Where? I want to see this.
All the offline stuff. Yeah, you're not seeing it in front of you.
Offline. Oh yeah, okay. The offline stuff. Let me guess. It's probably Catalano too.
Just for the record, folks, Jeff cleaned my clock the other night. There's no doubt, but we were fine with it. It happens. Every once in a while, somebody walks on water. They produce fish. They get the wine. It's okay. Miracles happen. That's all I can tell you.
Walk on water.
Yeah. A miracle happens every once in a while. It's a miracle.
Oh God, here we go.
Let's get to it. We're a couple weeks.
Here we go.
We are about 3 weeks away from the big fantasy football showdown this year. Looking forward to our fantasy league kicking off. 12 teams fully vested. Everybody's in. We've even got people paying their bill this year. So it's so far so good. In the meantime, Jeff, how was your week?
I was high all week.
You were high all week?
Oh, my God. I couldn't be touched. You would have needed an air traffic controller to get in touch with me. I was so high. Why? Why? Ask me why.
I'm not asking you why.
Ask me why.
I'm not asking you.
Because of the plastering that I laid upon you the other night.
I know the funny part was I put the thing down and didn't think about it again. Didn't bother me a bit.
But yet here you are. You remember that it was 30-6.
Listen, it's fine. It does not. I don't forget a beating. I just move on from it, and I come back the next time and I get ready. That's how it works.
You're sour.
Sour. Don't bother me.
You're sour.
If the best part of your week was beating me in Madden, it's a tough week. That's all I can tell you.
Listen, when Anthony comes back on, ask him how he likes work. Believe me, the best part of his week was me beating you. That's how much our week sucks. But hold on 1 second. I got to put the air conditioner on. Hold on.
Go ahead. I don't blame you. It's hot out there today. Anyway, guys, so we're going to talk a little bit of football. We'll talk again. We got how did it get number one job already? Oh, Kylie. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of football to start the show. I got some music in there. Yeah, we got a bunch of things. Hall of Fame.
I got some music for you today too.
Go ahead. What you got? Want to go first?
Yeah, you know what? This is a good one to talk about.
Go ahead. Bring it on. Let's go.
This was an article that I have to bring this up because this is such a joke. It's unbelievable. The 5 albums that somebody 5 albums. There you go. There's 5.
There you go.
The 5 albums that somebody said was actually better than the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album.
I got to hear this. This is interesting. So
very interesting.
So let's hold on 1 second. So
I saw that, Anthony. Yes, it does suck.
Are you saying that you think that the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper is the greatest album of all time, or are you just saying that there's no way these albums are better than this one?
Well, while I like that album, it's not my favorite Beatles album.
I agree with you. I think it's obviously got great stuff on it, but to me, I'm not a big fan of their psychedelic era, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have to say that either Abbey Road or the White Album is my favorite Beatles album from them.
I would agree with that. At least I would take those over Sgt. Pepper's, but agreed.
Okay, but and now the article said
as out of Voodoo Doll Finelli. I have an Eddie Iron Maiden Trooper on my desk at work, and Finelli thought it was a voodoo doll.
Okay.
Yes, so it's the Trooper, it's the flag and the whole bit. Anyway, so nice. Yeah, Jeff, go for it.
Well, this article said that these were 5 albums that were better.
Wow, well, I'm gonna go. Come on, Timmy, let me hear it.
Okay, so I'm going to start at number 1, of course.
Hold on, one thing. Do you agree with any of these albums being better than Sgt. Pepper? Curious.
Maybe 1.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe 1.
Okay.
And it's not the first one, and it's actually the 5th one on the list. So I'll go. We'll get to the 5th one.
Go ahead.
But 2 of the albums were just like 3 of the albums were mind blowing. But whatever. Number 1, Led Zeppelin 4. Somebody's saying that Led Zeppelin 4 was actually better than Sgt. Pepper.
Wow.
From the Beatles album, which
it's not even the best. It's not even the best Led Zeppelin album.
Probably not, but I could see. I guess "Stairway to Heaven" gets it a lot of votes, which we've heard that song 10,000 times.
Too many.
A piece, yeah. And then who the fuck wants to hear it anymore?
But put it in perspective. And I'm not a Zeppelin fan. It's a classic. It's a classic.
Yeah, it is a classic. You can't deny that. Is it better than Sgt. Pepper? I don't think so.
No, not even close. But go ahead.
Now we're getting into a risque neighborhood here.
Oh boy.
Okay. Which I don't understand this one. This one makes me laugh.
Go ahead.
Okay, you ready for this one? Number 2.
Go ahead.
I'm just waiting to see your face when I say this. That's how bad this I think. Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run.
Oh, jeez, come on. Are you freaking
I swear to God, dude.
Holy.
I swear to God. I couldn't believe it myself. As soon as I saw this while I was at work, and I was reading it on the internet, and then as soon as I saw the article, I got to see what they say. And then as soon as I saw that, I was like, I got to write this down and bring this to the show on Thursday.
Yeah.
Because this is just too much for me.
I mean, I'm not a Springsteen fan, and while I don't disparage the fact that it was a big hit for him, the album, it was put him on the charts, it gave him the chance to ruin, We Are the World by singing on it. It is not a classic album.
Not for me. I agree with you. Some people may like it. I don't put it in the same neighborhood as any Beatles album. It is what it is. But the next album I don't know much about. Okay. And but it is a progressive fusion type band, which is King Crimson, and the album Red. Now, I don't know much about King Crimson because they are like a progressive fusion type music, and I never got into them. And I remember kids in school being into them, but I myself don't know anybody that was actually a King Crimson fan.
I was going to say, I don't think in all the years that I have been a metal fan, we know a lot of the same people. We know obviously other people who are metal fans. I have never been in a crowd of people who said, "Did you ever hear that great Red Crimson album?" It just never happens.
If there's anybody that we know of that would know that album, I bring it to 3 people.
Go ahead.
Jimmy, Paul,
okay,
and Pete Beggs.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree.
And maybe Michael Gansis.
Oof! Wow. Okay.
Maybe they would be the only people I would pay. And Jimmy later on in life,
Yes, that's
okay,
something Jimmy
not as a kid.
Yeah, because as a kid, that's nothing ever. I never even heard of them. That's
No.
a band that I heard of in probably in my 40s.
Well, I heard about them in high school. Matter of fact, you know what? While I'm thinking about it, I want to get it because I want to look at it. I want to figure it out, see what's going on, because I don't know what album it is. I don't really know.
It's the fifth album, Bitch. That's all I got to ask. Is the fifth album, Bitch? Is somebody nominated with the album, Bitch?
Well, I don't know. As a matter of fact, okay, there it is. Red, and there it is. I have downloaded it. So I will listen to that later on.
All right, go ahead. So that's number 3. Somebody said that the album by Crimson, Red, is better than Sgt. Pepper's. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna take a listen to it later on tonight. But I will tell you already, it's not.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I don't see that 50 years from now still being played. But go ahead.
No. Matter of fact, in 60 years, I've never played it or heard of it.
Yeah.
And I just downloaded my first King Crimson album because I want to hear it. And it may not even be here by midnight, so who knows?
Yeah.
The next album up is The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie. Now, I know David Bowie has a hardcore following.
Yep.
And there is a chance that his fans may think, like his hardcore, diehard fans may think that album is better than that. But I don't know much about that album to say anything. I know that Ziggy Stardust was one of his personalities in the early 70s.
Yep.
Early to mid 70s, and, Major Tom and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was a big era for him. Yeah. I don't know about it being better than
a classic album, probably well liked. Definitely, a lot of people out there better than Sgt. Pepper's. I'd say the answer to that is absolutely not even close.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. It's probably not, but I'm not gonna download it either. So fuck that.
Yeah. I've heard enough of that album to say that it's not.
Okay, and now the only album that to me may come close. And I don't know if you're going to like this album, but I really dig this album. It's not a long album.
Okay.
It was an album that was recorded in the 70s that was in the top 100 or 200 for like 1,000 weeks, or literally 1,000. It was like phenomenal how long it was on the top 200 albums or whatever, all time or whatever.
Yep.
And that was Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd.
That's an interesting one. That is a very interesting copy, because you know what, right there, you're talking about one of the, and again, for me, I'm not a Pink Floyd fan, but you're talking about one of the great albums, was on the charts forever, still floating around out there. People still enjoy it. That's it. You're 100% right. That is an interesting one. Now, personally, I'm not a Floyd fan, so I wouldn't, but that is probably the closest you've come on that list, and a very weird list because you're all over the place on that list.
Well, I didn't come up with that.
I'm not saying it's you. I'm just saying is you're presenting it. So, but yeah, that is a list that, I mean, Springsteen, King Crimson, Bowie, that's a list that's all over the place. It's almost like it's searching for somebody to say yes. Again, the closest one I would put up against it would be Dark Side of the Moon. That's the closest I would say on that list. If you wanted to have the argument, you can make a valid case for that one.
Just a few tidbits about Dark Side of the Moon.
Go ahead.
Okay, incredible. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon has spent nearly 1,000 total weeks on the U.S. Billboard 200, but tracking specifically how many of those weeks were in the top 100 as opposed to the lower half of the 200 is not officially broken out as a standard amount, whatever. Total Billboard 200 weeks, over 996 non-consecutive weeks. Initial run, 741 continuous weeks on the main chart from 1973 to 1988.
Wow.
The top 100 context, while it spent many consecutive years in the upper half of the chart during its historic 14-year initial run, Billboard's publishing tracking data highlights it overall presence on the entire 200 tally, rather. Okay, so in other words, they don't have exactly how long it was in the top 100. They just looked at it as the top 200. But even at that, the top 200 albums, if this is an album that came out in 1973, it is 2026, and here we are talking about it still. I love that album. It's a great album. It's it's just a cool album. It's even better if you got the Wizard of Oz playing in the background. Yeah, yes, Anthony. I did many times, and it is a lot of fun. If you're I wouldn't do it on a Tuesday night because you got nothing else to watch on TV. I would make sure I would wait. You got 30 days to clean out.
Not what I'm talking about. Speed, not my speed of albums. Not my type of album. But again, if you wanted to put that up there statistically against Sgt. Pepper's, you could make a big case. I mean, that album has been on the charts forever. I mean, 1,000 weeks on the Billboard Top 100. I don't care if it's at 1 or 99. To be on there for 15 years essentially is insane.
Yeah, I myself, I like the album, and whether you're putting it like for the success, how many weeks it was on top, however you want to say it, do it, whatever. I personally just think that that's an incredible run. I like the album. There's a lot of songs on there that Money, Time.
How many great songs on either album? Like if you look back at it now and you say Sgt. Pepper's had X amount of great songs, Dark Side of the Moon had X amount of great songs. I'm going to get my dad on in a minute.
Yeah, go ahead, get him on. I'm gonna have the album ready.
Yeah.
So when we're done, then we could just go over that with him. Okay. Go ahead, take your dad.
No, give it a minute. I want to do this, then I'll get him on. Give me 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, real quick.
Yeah.
The albums that are on Sgt. Pepper. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, with a little help from my friends. Mm-hmm. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Getting Better, Fixing a Hole, She's Leaving Home, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, Within You, Without You, When I'm 64, Lovely Rita, Good Morning, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Reprise, and A Day in the Life.
Wow, there's like 7 great songs on that album.
Yes, there is. And then
go ahead.
As far as the Pink Floyd album goes,
go ahead.
That hold on, I'm trying to get to it as fast as I can. I don't want to leave your dad hanging too long either.
No, go ahead. He'll give me another minute, then we'll get right to him.
Is he dressed?
Yes.
Okay. Speak to Me, which is just an intro. Breathe in the Air. You've heard that one. On the Run. You've heard all of these.
Yeah.
Time, The Great Gig in the Sky, Money, Us and Them, Any Color You Like, Brain Damage, Eclipse. Just an incredible album. If you take that album and you press repeat twice, or 2.5 or 3 times, it'll play through the Wizard of Oz 2.5 times.
Really?
Yeah, and a lot of things match up. I mean, you got to wait for the lion to roar. On the 3rd time you hit play, and then just sit back, hold on to the sofa. You're gonna need it, and just sit back and relax and just watch it. A lot of stuff really lines up perfectly.
Oh, really?
And they say that no, it was just coincidental. It's like
really,
no way. No way.
All right, let's get my dad on. We'll come back to this again. That's Jeff. I'm Tom, and we're here every Thursday night. Thanks for tuning in and hanging with us. Let's get my pop star, see what he's got to say, and then we'll come on back. We got a lot of football, some baseball, and some more music to get to, and all by 9 o'clock. What's up, Dad?
What's up, guys?
What's up, Mr. Fleur? How are you?
Very good. Thank you.
What's up, Pop?
Not much. Just trying to fighting this urge. I want to see football come back, but then I know winter's coming.
Yes, that is very true. Yes, it is very
true.
Yeah,
but now your nuts ain't going to be stuck to your leg no more, Mr. Florio. I think it'll be nice, cool, comfy.
I can answer that, but I won't.
I do look forward to the football season. Like I still get pumped up. I know there's a lot of I also get to Frank Jeffrey, Matt Salitri, weekly conspiracy, the league, scripts the games, text messages. They constantly. Did you see this? And it's not just them. It's all over social media. This is scripted. Watch what this guy does. Then all of a sudden, this it's the funniest thing. But I do look forward to football, and I think there's some genuine optimism for both teams. I'm not telling you both teams are playoff teams. I'm not telling you either team will win the Super Bowl anytime soon. I'm just saying is at the very least. And we're going to break it down in a few minutes, my optimism and for both teams. There's at least the thought that both teams aren't going to out and out suck this year. There's optimism. We'll see if it happens. So to your point, Pop, I get you. It's coming, but it also means the holidays are coming, which we all love, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and all that good stuff. My problem is when the season ends, now it's wintertime, and that's my problem. Then you get into it's way too cold.
Yeah, I can't do
that. You got the Giants on Saturday at 1:00. The Jets tomorrow night at 7:00. You got the game tonight. The Packers are on tonight at 8:00 tonight. So there's some football out there. It's regardless if it's the Scrabinis. I'll be watching the Giants this Saturday.
That's why I find it hard to get into the football at this time of the year.
It's hard.
Only because there's a lot of players that you don't know.
Correct.
But a lot of teams that I've read about so far this year, a lot of them are going to be playing starters. Like the Jets want to play their starters 25 to 30 snaps.
Yeah.
They think that's going to make a difference.
I agree.
So get them hitting the ground running. When they had 4 preseason games, they probably played more closer to 50 to 75 snaps, no? Over the course of 3 games.
Yeah, so the old days, it was a regiment. The first game, you play maybe 1 series, maybe 2, then they're gone. The second week, they may play the first quarter, and then they're gone. The third game, they play the first half, and then the starters were gone. And in the fourth week, they come out, they may play the first series, and then they were done. It was like textbook. Every team did it. Yep. And football was better. It was. It just the beginning of the season was better. Now, for the last few years, Jeff, we've talked about it 100 times. Teams just didn't play them at all. Quarterbacks wouldn't get the first snap till first game in September. So, it's great until one of your top players gets hurt in a meaningless game.
Yeah, but that's football.
I agree with you, Dad. That's all part of the game.
Nobody wants to sit there and let them draw curtains around a quarterback, and you can't touch this guy because you could have hurt him. That's what you're getting paid the money for.
Yeah, I agree. Listen. I would hate to have Dart or any of the Giants get hurt in a meaningless game, but that's football. I mean, you can walk out of the house and step off the curb and crack an ankle.
You're right, but you want to know something? You don't need a 350-pound defensive lineman landing on your starting quarterback in August.
I agree.
And while I agree with what happened in the past, it's a different game now. Also, I think what dictates it is that these guys weren't getting the salaries back then that they're getting now.
Very
you
true.
Can't let a $60 million quarterback go out there and play when it's 90 degrees out on a Thursday night.
Jeff, then he shouldn't be out there at all. If you can't afford to get look what happened with what's his name from when he was with the Jets. He snapped one ball, he went down. Nobody touched him.
Totally aware of that, but at least it happened in a regular season game. Even though it was the first game, it was a regular season game. Imagine if that had happened in the preseason, and then your whole season is ruined already. At least, what's that?
Yeah, Dad.
Go ahead,
I'm
Mr.
just saying, nobody's saying to go out there and manhandle the guy, but you touch the guy, he's 3 inches below his waist. That's a penalty. He's 3 inches above his waist. That's a penalty. Get the hell out of there. You're getting paid.
Yeah, it is. It has gotten soft, without a doubt. Definitely, without a doubt. It's not the game that you grew up with. That's for sure.
It's not
even what you did.
Yeah.
You guys didn't grow up with that.
Yeah. Again, I have a mixed feeling about it, but I'm a big proponent of saying that come September, football sucks because guys have not played and they're working out the kinks and they're getting their first hits in. So to me, there's a medium. And now, as a Giant fan, I know that one of the things that John Harbaugh brings here is there's a guy who I think at some point he won like 27 straight preseason games. Now you say, well, who cares? It's preseason. But I'll also say that John Harbaugh's Ravens teams were pretty much always in contention for the playoffs. He's won a Super Bowl. So I think there is something to it, and I think that's the way that's the way you're going to see it. Now, how much Jackson Dart and Malik Neighbors and Arville Reese are going to play, I don't know. But I got to be honest, I want them to play. I don't want Dart running quarterback draws. Go out there and throw the pass. Get out there and do it. I just prefer it, Jeff. Would you prefer your team, Jeff? Because it's one of my topics tonight. Would you prefer the Jets not play everybody and then show up in September and maybe have a couple weeks of bad looking football until they figure it out? Or would you rather take the option and the chance and have Geno and Breece Hall and all those guys out there for a couple of series each game?
I personally think that because they cut it down from 4 games to 3 games, everything has to be cut back a little bit. Football, it is a risky game, of course. Any injuries could happen at any given time. But like you said, you could slip out of getting out of the shower and pull a groin muscle or whatever.
100%.
Anything could happen, 1,000%. But it doesn't matter. All you got to do is keep somebody in for one extra play.
Of course.
One extra play. Let me get this. Let me finish this series. One extra play, bang, the guy's got a broken leg and he's done.
Look at Sanchez in a Snoopy Bowl. Remember? He was out of the game, came back in, right? Because I want to say it was Geno, but somebody couldn't find their helmet. He goes running in and he winds up getting hurt and missing a whole bunch of games.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Don't get me wrong. I understand the argument on both sides of the ball. Yeah. What your dad is saying and then everything else. It's totally understandable. You want to see these guys play and be ready for the season, but you got to count on the training staff and to get them loose and limber. But I guess there's nothing like live action. What could you do?
Absolutely.
But when you're a team like the Jets and the Giants, you need every boost in your corner as you can get. And maybe a guy like Jackson Dart wasn't very safe last year.
Correct. And
too many times he could have gotten hurt. But that could happen in anytime, practice, regular season,
100%,
whatever.
100%. That's why I say you got to go out there. And again, don't run quarterback powers. You're not going to take, all right, we're going to run a quarterback draw or a quarterback keep. No, let them go out there and throw the ball and tell them, I don't care what the situation is. Slide, DiMaggio, slide. And
see, Mr. Fuller, you said something that before I forget, Tom, I'm sorry. That while you said it, it's 1,000% true. Use a football players, get out there and play. But Tom, the coach could turn around and tell the quarterback, don't run, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. But the other coach may turn around and say, kill him. We're playing him in the preseason. We got to play him another 2 games this season. Make sure he knows who you are. Hit him as often as you can. And a defensive lineman isn't going to stop because it's preseason. He's coming with everything he's got because he's probably going to run through the quarterback.
Yeah.
So any accident could happen.
100%. And again, we all saw it with Rodgers. Dad brought it up, a good point. Rodgers was just rolling out and basically tore Achilles, and he was done for a year, and never was the same again. And his Jet 2 years was a disaster. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love the preseason for just the simple fact that football's back, and I get to see a bunch of young kids run around out there and kind of start narrowing in on who's got some good players and who can play the game. So I look forward to it. And I'm not betting it like Matt. I'm not betting preseason, but I am
betting preseason.
Oh my God, he's giving you all sorts of. This is where you set your bankroll. It's easy money. Meanwhile, he bet last week's game he lost. He had to cash out. I want to cashed out. Please. I'm not. But I'd rather bet the Canadian football games than preseason NFL.
If you notice, Jeff, a lot of the football players say the real season don't start till it's almost 4 games.
Sure, 100%.
So what is that telling you now? Yeah. That's telling you that's exhibition. Basically, that preseason.
Well, that's how it's been handled the last 5 or 10 years. Maybe the last 10 years, that's how it's been handled.
September is the new preseason.
Correct, 100%.
That's what it is, September. And we've said that more than one time here. September is the new preseason.
They're doing the same thing. Even they're just waiting for it. Well, what's the difference if it's exhibition or if it's real football? The guy gets his head busted. That's part of the game.
I agree, but I think you're going to start to see, and you're starting to see it now. I think the Jets have been doing it a little bit. The Giants are going to be doing it a little bit. I think you're going to see more and more of the veteran and the starters playing a little more, maybe safer, maybe not wide open and not running crazy plays. But I think you're going to see more and more teams are starting to realize that they're giving away games in September because they're just not prepared. Guys are not in shape. I think with as great athletes as these guys are, and they're amazing athletes, I think they're a little on the soft side because they don't, they've been so raised to not be hit and not be touched and have everything controlled for them that I think it's, to me, it's almost refreshing. I hope I watch tomorrow night's game. And I get to see, Geno Smith and the Jet offense and defense out there for at least a series or two. And the same thing when I watch the Giants on Saturday.
You got to think too, if let's say that one of your starters go down, an important player, whatever, okay, early on and he gets hurt in preseason and it carries through September. Now you're 1-3, but you had Super Bowl aspirations and everything else. You're behind the 8 ball as it is already. So you're playing in October and you may be playing for your playoff life as early as the middle of October.
Sure.
And it's all because, some of these guys didn't get enough practice early on in the season, or they were held out. They stayed an extra play or two and they ended up getting hurt. Right now, what you can say, you can't turn around and say that they're not going to hit one another. They have to get into hitting. They have to.
Sure.
But if you put the guy out there, you're the one taking the chance. You're the coach. You know your team. If you're going to take a chance and put your star quarterback out there, so be it. If his knee gets twisted, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the other thought real quick on this topic is, back in the day, 70s, 80s, even to the 90s, teams had sufficient and capable backups. Like, the Giants had Sims and they had Hostetler. Cowboys had, Danny White and Roger Staubach. There were legitimate backups. I'm not saying there was always a 3 deep guys and all that, but I think there were legitimate backups back in the day. And today with the salary cap and paying, 3 or 4 guys, most of the money, you don't necessarily get to spend the best money on the guy who's the backup. Now, even after you spend the money, who are capable backups nowadays, I don't know. But I think that's a little bit in there too, is that, Jackson Dart goes down. All right, the Giants have Jameis Winston. All right, he's legit. He's okay. If Geno goes down, which maybe some Jet fans want to have, there ain't nobody behind him. I mean, let's call it what it is. So
not right now. And even with Geno in there, you're not going to have, the second coming of Y.A. Tittle there.
Exactly. So it's a catch-22. Do you sit your guys and maybe start off the season badly? Do you play your guys and risk injury? It's a tough call. Every team's going to do its best. To me, I don't want the guys to get hurt, but I do want to see my starters out there playing football. I'll
leave you with this thought.
Then,
if you got a bunch of veterans that have played and have won before, you can get away with that.
Okay.
If you got a lot of kids you got kids coming out of high school ready to play football, pro football quarterback. And there's no experience. They look like Jeff said. You got a 350-pound guy charging at you. You're in trouble.
Well, again, it's all about the one thing that you learn at any level when you play at a new level. Well, I don't care if it's the Pee-wees, high school, college, pros. When you first get out there, it's moving at a light speed. Like things just happen, and the more experience you get, it slows it down because your mechanics take over, and it just you kind of react to things, especially in football, and sure in every sport, but to me, especially in football, there's a point when you're playing at a new level, and you go, "Holy cow!" That's just you're just overwhelmed. But eventually, you play there long enough, and you go, "It's old hat." And I think the more these guys play, the better these teams are going to be this year. So let's hope they get it out there. So, Pop, we'll see what happens.
Enjoy the rest of your night, guys.
All right, Pop.
Take care. Tell me I talked to you.
You got it, Mr. Porter.
Weekend.
See you later.
All right, that's my dad. Checks in every week. I love having him, and He's sounded pretty good today. He sounded pretty good, so I'm glad to see that.
I gotta. You mentioned something just now that I want to reiterate on, because
Sure.
I've been thinking about this, and your comment made me think about it a little bit more. When you say, like old hat, it reminds me of like when there was a young player in the league, he would be considered a young player for several seasons. His first season, he was a rookie, but he was a young player for several years.
Sure.
And then when you get guys that the Jets traded, like Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams, and now that they're like almost like veterans now. And I understand they are veterans now, but hear me out. A guy like Quentin Williams, he's been in the league what 6-7 years now, and he's like a grizzled vet. Even Sauce Gardner, this is his 4th year in the league, and he's probably not considered a young player anymore. Somebody like he's a veteran player, and I think that I'm not going to say they're rushing time. That's not what I'm trying to say. But because the league is the way it is, it's completely different now. I don't think that these players have the time to be considered a young player for 3, 4, 5 years. Like now, year 5, now they're a vet. And they don't have that time. They don't have it anymore. And it's like they're pushing you through. If you don't produce and produce well real quick, your career is done. So if you're not at an all-pro level or playing very high level by year 3 or 4, you could be done, or 100%. Be somebody's third string or whatever. You know what I mean?
100%.
And I just think that the league has changed so much since even 10, 15, 20 years ago, and it's like, is it for the better or is it for the worse? Because sometimes there's not enough players, it seems, to fill the league. So if you're a team like the Jets, who have sucked for the last God knows how many years because they just can't get their act together. And it's like, is it the coaching? They suck. Is it the players? They suck. A lot of people don't sign a second contract with some teams.
Yeah.
It's like you're not getting the most out of a player because you're rushing them so much.
100%. We've talked about it 100 times. That's the problem, is you don't get to learn on the job a little bit. Years ago, you'd have the vets, and then a guy would get in a little bit here, a little bit more. And then, most players, I would tell you back in the day, probably hit their 3rd season before they became the veteran guy and the starter. Nowadays, because of the salary cap, because of how much of the money goes places, you're expecting these kids to come out of college and basically contribute immediately. And the problem we've talked about, look, I mean, we can make 2 great cases with Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. I even throw in Geno Smith. These are guys who got rushed onto the field, were way over their head, and it took them until year 6 and 7 that it snapped. And you say, well, maybe if they weren't rushed on the field the first couple of years, maybe they would have found it sooner. Now, who knows? Bad situations, who knows? But Baker Mayfield right now is a top 10 quarterback in the league. Now, we all know that the level, the quality is not there. But to your point, Jeff, it's these guys are able to get on the field faster, which they love. But I also think that a lot of them are in over their heads, and it hurts their career in the long haul.
You got to think, too, if you're a first-round pick and you're within the first 10, 15 picks, you're going to get paid regardless of what you do on the field.
Correct.
All your money, you sign that contract, that is guaranteed money from day one. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and put up Hall of Fame numbers from day one. Everybody knows that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But, a guy like Sam Darnold, we keep talking about Sam Darnold. I'm sorry. I feel as though that Sam Darnold was on 2 teams 2 years in a row that played incredible. Yeah. And it was just as much as a team effort.
I agree.
Even more so than it was of him. I want to see what happens this year with Sam Darnold. If he comes out there and he kicks ass in year 3, then by all means, I'll say that he's the real deal. But if he comes out and he falls flat on his face, I'm going to say that it was more the team and the program that he was in than it was actually him. To me,
that's fair. Okay? I think that's fair.
Geno Smith had enough time to sit on the bench and learn, and he only had 2 or 3 decent seasons, but he didn't really do nothing. He wasn't setting records. He wasn't throwing for 5,000 yards. it was because the first part of his career was so bad
Oof.
that when he went out and he had decent numbers, everybody's gonna be like, "Whoa, where did this guy come from?" And his shelf life. I understand he's what 35, 36 years old. No, I understand that. Still young for a man, but old for an NFL quarterback.
Mhm.
How much longer do you think he's gonna have? Another year or two, if that? This is a tryout year for him just as much as it is for anybody else in the NFL. He don't
Yeah.
play good. He'll be a backup someplace if he's lucky.
Yeah, I would tell you that. Yeah, so that's been the big topic that I've listened to a lot of sports radio this week, and that was kind of one of the bigger topics that I heard was Geno. Now everybody's, the Jets have plenty of weapons. The offensive line's getting better. The big question seems to be for the Jets is, will the defense get better this year, and which Geno shows up? Will it be the Seahawks Geno, who played really well most of his time there? Will it be the disaster Geno from last year with the Raiders? Will it be somewhere in between? And that seems to be the big question. Now, the problem is, we just talked about, they don't have a legit backup at the moment. They don't have a guy that you could say, the Giants could roll out Dart, something go wrong, and you could survive with Jameis Winston. Not winning a Super Bowl, but you could survive with a decent team around him, and you could shake out a few wins. But the big question for the Jets, and they've drafted pretty well. Garrett Wilson's out there, pretty healthy. The offensive line's good. I think their backfield's really good. They got 3 legit tight ends at this point. The big question is going to be which Geno Smith shows up, and I don't know how to predict it. I don't know if he was bad because the Raiders were so bad, Jeff, or if his skills diminished. I don't know how to read this Jet offense right now.
I'm going to go with it's a little bit of both. His skills deteriorated a little bit. He got a little bit older. He was on a bad team. All of the above, none of the above. Depends on how you're looking at it. But see, now here's the thing: the Jets need Geno Smith to play decent.
Yeah.
Not so much so that he has a future here, because he does not. We all know that he does not. But you want to see, with decent quarterback play, what you're going to get out of certain players.
Sure.
That's more important at this point in time than what Geno Smith does with his career. You want him to play solid to see where you could say, like, okay, he was better than mediocre, but he wasn't in the top 5.
Right.
He was a top 15 quarterback, and he played as such. And what did he do? He showed that some of these guys are capable. They're capable of playing. Same thing. I think that same thing with the Giants with Jameis Winston. If he gets out there, he would be able to provide that for the Giants. If the Giants have some young kids that they want to see what they can do, right. Are they going to be decent players? Are they going to be somebody that you could use to build the team and be like, yeah, even with Jameis Winston, this kid caught 70 passes for 850 yards and 7 touchdowns. And that was, what are you going to do with Jameis Winston, who hasn't played in 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is?
Yeah.
So you need somebody that's going to help the young kids along. But in the Jets situation, you can hope for anybody at this point in time. And they got to make it work. That's all they could say, is they got to make it work.
Yeah. And I think, I heard some really, I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet. I'm going to try to over the next day or two, but I heard some really great stuff about an interview that Aaron Glenn did on FAN, and both of the hosts of the show were praising him, said, listen, I thought he should have been fired last year. He was a disaster, had no confidence. And they said, he had not only did he have the right answers, but he said it in the right way. And it looks like maybe he kind of figured it out. And we'll find out. Aaron Glenn was a disaster. And to me, more important right now than the Geno Smith, good or bad, if Aaron Glenn is as bad as he was last year, controlling the team, his X's and O's were horrendous. Everything was terrible. If he's that bad, it don't matter how well Geno plays. It just doesn't matter.
Well, John Gruden, I just read an article before I came on when I was eating dinner. John Gruden is comparing them and Aaron Glenn and the Jets to Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions when he was first coming up with the team.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately for these teams, the Giants, the Jets, the Lions, the Browns, success is winning some football games and making the playoffs.
Right.
What about the Super Bowl? You know,
yeah.
It's like wrapping a half a Christmas present and being like, guess what's in it? What it is? It's only got half the paper on it, but you know.
Yeah, and they're right, and it is that. The one thing I'll say, you know, Dan Campbell came out with the whole biting the knees, and you know, it was a little bit of a laughing stock at first, and then the Lions got to be very good, and they did a great job. They have some great players, offensively, defensively, but Dan Campbell blew it, and it was because of his coaching that they didn't go to Super Bowl. And had they gone to Super Bowl, I think they would have had a really and very great chance of winning that Super Bowl. They were playing great football. He mismanaged that game against the Niners and lost. So it's been a steady progression backwards to the point where I think they finished last in their division last year.
I think so. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I'm almost positive they finished almost dead last in that division, or tied with the Vikings for last. But it doesn't matter. So I think this is a big year for him. You know, that team needs to turn around in a tough division. If he doesn't, you know, that hot seat's going to get hotter because, again, Dan Campbell is not a great football coach. He's a great builder. He's a great motivator. He's a guy who rallies the troops. But if you can't coach, you can't coach. And I think that's what Aaron Glenn's got to prove this year. Not only can he coach, he needs to build a culture that disappeared last year. I mean, that last 5 or 7 games that the Jets played was some of the worst football I've ever seen. Teams quitting, you know. So this is big. You know, they need to get off to a decent start, and he's got to win some football games and show that he can do it. Just like you said, it's a great analogy because if you look at this Jets team, you know, they have 2 good running backs. The Lions had 2 good running backs. The Lions had 2 or 3 really good receivers. The Jets have the possibility of 3 really good receivers. The difference, though, is quarterback. So we'll see.
Yeah, but you want to know something? I understand Geno Smith is a little bit older than, well, by the time they each reached their second team, Goff was a little bit younger than Geno Smith.
Yes.
But Goff was done. A lot of people were like, the guy is done. He sucks. He's you know, he lost it. He's not the same. He's nothing anymore.
Absolutely.
Then he went and he had a decent career with Detroit.
Absolutely, yes.
And he may be the best quarterback Detroit's ever had.
Oh, no doubt.
I don't know about the stat wise, you know, but
yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's him or Stafford at this point. I mean, unless you're going to go back to Bobby Lane in the 50s.
Yeah, I forgot all about Stafford, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I think Stafford Stafford didn't win a lot of playoff games. Didn't, you know, there wasn't a lot of that.
No, there was nothing in Detroit when he was there.
Yeah, so I'll give Goff credit. I mean, this is a much better team, but Goff had Calvin Johnson. I mean, not Goff. I'm sorry, Stafford. So I mean, not a terrible team, but I would tell you, if you ask me who's had the better career, without looking at stats, I would take Goff's career as a Lion before I take Stafford's career as a Lion. I don't know if you agree with that, but it's
no, I know. Listen, as personal numbers, Stafford. Team numbers, Goff.
Yeah, so that's a good way to put it. So again, I think the Jets have some big strengths this year, but the problem for the Jets is they have to overcome what I perceive as coming into the year the 2 biggest weaknesses, and it's the 2 biggest things. Is the head coach going to be any good? Is their quarterback going to be any good? If both of those are even marginally better than they were last year, the Jets will have a good season. Maybe in the playoffs, I don't know. I saw people saying there's a chance they can finish second in that division. It's possible. It's possible.
I don't know. You know,
it's possible.
Everybody needs to relax.
All I'm saying is, if the coach didn't learn and get better, and Geno's not better than last year, if Geno's got to at least play up to his last year or 2 in Seattle, if he does that, this will be a very good team. It's not going to be a great team, but it'll be a very good team. So,
no, but you know what? When you're 3-14,
yeah.
If you turn out and you're 7-10, or 8-9, people are going to say that this was a much improved team. It's wow,
Absolutely.
holy shit. They were fun. They were entertaining to watch.
And Jeff,
I don't know what I just did there. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. And they get 3 number 1 picks next year.
Fuck.
So you're there. Hi, Jeff. We see
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Hold on a second.
That was Jeff's trying to fix his problem. We'll continue. But, yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
You're better?
All right.
Yeah, you're good here. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can hear me?
Yes. Yeah. So at the end of the day, the Jets have a potential. But, again, their 2 biggest problems are 2 big problems. And the big problems is coaching and quarterback. Let's move on. Let's do a little Giants. And then I got some NFL stuff.
Well, there's another music thing I got to ask you, but let's do the Giants. No, let's do the Giants.
Okay.
And then I'll hit you up with, I got it written down. I got to ask it. So.
Okay. All right. So
I won't forget.
We'll get to the Giants. So the Giants this year, again, some big questions out. Now, I think they've solved the coaching problem. He's got the track record. Doesn't mean, listen, we've had great coaches come here. Guys like Dan Reeves, have come into the building and not, lived up to expectations. All right. So there's no guarantee that John Harbaugh comes in here and the Giants rebound and they're playing in Super Bowls or they're winning playoff games. There's no guarantees. The roster has some questions. The receiving room, not great. Malik Neighbors coming off an injury. Will he be back to normal? We'll see. But then you got Slayton, Mooney, Austin, OBJ. It's Juju Smith-Schuster. Jeff, it's not terrible, but it's not scaring the pants off anybody.
No, but you got just Malik Neighbors, for instance. This guy's been injured 2 years in a row. Is he even going to be ready for the start of the season?
It looks like the answer is yes, but when you're coming off that major of an injury, it's usually well into the next year or the year after before you're actually back to being who you are.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like, and then Juju Schuster-Smith. This is a guy. He's been on several teams.
Yeah,
Kansas City, Pittsburgh, right? A couple others, maybe.
Yeah, Kansas City's the team that was desperate for receivers, and he got bounced out of there. So I mean, again, there's some good players there. Is it a good enough room for a second-year quarterback like Dart to be better? I don't know. They have a good set of running backs. I like the tight end room. The tight end room, I think, is pretty good with Fedone, second-year tight end out of Nebraska. Yeah, of course, they got the kid Lively brought over from the Ravens, and the big kid they had last year, Theo. Jesus Christ, I'm trying to blank on him. But he had too many drops. So offensively, I think the Giants have an ability to be good. I don't know if they have an ability to be great. On the other side of the ball, I love what I'm seeing out of the new kid, Arvell Reese. He's just seems to be a phenomenal player. Giants' problem is secondary. I don't know. I don't know if they can defend anybody, Jeff. So biggest problem for the Giants is the receiver room and the secondary room. Those are the 2 big issues for the Giants that they need to overcome. Yet there's a lot of optimism. People out there saying, Giants, and I think it all has to do with the coach.
Well, of course it does. You got Harbaugh coming in. He had a successful run in Baltimore. The only thing, though, is he wasn't all that successful. He only got 1 Super Bowl, and that was with Lamar Jackson. So, now.
Lamar Jackson, it was with Flacco.
No, yes, he won the Super Bowl with Flacco, but what I mean by with Lamar Jackson, I should have, said Flacco. Yeah, he never made it to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
So even though he was, successful, he was never able to take it to the next step with him. Mm-hmm. Now, Jackson Dart is not Lamar Jackson.
No, not yet.
So he not yet, at least, and maybe never ever. Who knows? We got to see.
Yep.
But the one thing that Lamar Jackson could do is he knows when to duck. So Lamar Jackson. I know we keep saying it, but Jackson Dart definitely needs to learn that skill if he's going to have a decent career in the NFL. Because a couple different headshots, that's it. They'll be slicing your brain up after they find you dead in your car someplace.
Listen. You're totally listen. There was a big play in one of the practices this week. and Dart running down the field, and he slid, and the entire defense gave him a standing ovation. So they were happy to see it.
Yeah, sure.
And again, I'm all for big spot in the game. You got to get 3 yards. You go get that 3 yards anywhere you can. But in the middle of a football game, in a meaningless spot, take the slide, DiMaggio. Take the slide. So, and again, there's a progression that Dart needs to get. Scadaboo's got to stay healthy. We got to stop with the stupidity for him. A good two-headed monster is important.
Harbaugh said something stupid to me a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if we brought this up.
No, we didn't.
Once Scadaboo, so you know exactly what I'm about to say.
Yes.
When Scadaboo did his fucking backflip, and he missed it, and Harbaugh said, "Well, at least if you're going to do it, you got to be able to stick the landing." Yeah. Why encourage this kid? Why encourage this kid?
He did pull. There was an after to that article, and it was not made a big deal of, but they did pull him aside and say, listen, you got to use your head. You're coming off a major injury. You don't. And even Scadaboo came out and said, yeah, I got to be smarter. Now the kid's a knucklehead. Let's be honest with you. He's a frat boy playing in the NFL. He's going to make stupid plays. He's going to make things, do stupid things. There's a guy who was on crutches at a wrestling event getting involved in a shoving match. It's just silliness, man. Too many hits in the head. He might have to be checked for CTE already. But but again, both of these teams, there is some optimism that you can go out there and at least say, hey, we're gonna play some meaningful games in December. We're gonna not be the doormat, and we're not gonna be embarrassing. I think to that end, I think both teams have that chance to be. We'll find out in about 3 weeks. We'll find out. The Giants have a very tough schedule. Home to Dallas on a Monday night, and then right away, I think the following week they get the Rams. The next week they go out to see the Rams. So Giants got a couple of early tests. We'll get to the schedule in about 2 weeks and start breaking it down. But in the meantime, we still got a lot of more stuff to get to. But let's get to Jeff's next music list.
Well, it's not a music list. There was something that happened just last night.
Oh, go ahead.
Which has to be brought up, and that's Richie Blackmore.
I heard
coming on stage and jamming with Deep Purple. For the first time in 33 years.
Saw that. I didn't read the article. I was flipping through Blabbermouth and I saw that happened, which obviously is monumental. And you wonder why not? And here's a guy who was off into the woods playing all this crazy music.
Yeah, and it's to me, it's like, do these guys finally realize hey, we do this once, we make a ton of money.
Yeah.
And even in that, they're all in their early 80s. How much more time you got left? And 33 years, and in this case with Deep Purple, what kind of music maybe could have been made? Would they have still been playing like they are now, or would it have just been these guys are done and realized that they were done years ago? And then you think of some of these other bands like Pink Floyd, the friction that's there. And a lot of these other bands, and you could just say that, what would have happened if they had just said hey, let's put this behind us. In Van Halen's case, when Van Halen, David Lee Roth came back, he was just done. He was done a long time ago.
Oh, horrendous! Did you see?
And these, it's
oh my God, it's embarrassing.
Yes, but that's now, and he's pushing 80. But I'm talking about when he was pushing 60. And he came back 20 years ago, and it was like, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad, and it's bad. But now it's even worse, and it's to the point now where it's somebody's got to tell him, say, you can't do this to yourself. You're making yourself look like a fucking idiot. But I mean, let's just stick with Deep Purple. What would it have taken, these guys? I guess they just hate one another that much to the point where it's you know what, fuck you. And they came out on stage and they played Smoke on the Water. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so it's over. Is anybody ever going to want to see that happen again? Is it capable of happening again? Evidently, they're on tour. They're not going to stop their tour so Richie Blackmore could get back on.
No, and I've never been able to take Purple serious. It's kind of they're one of those bands, and there's a lot of them out there where you just go, and I'm looking at it now. I mean, real quick. I mean, so Deep Purple Mark I, March 68 through July of 69. So a little over a year. Blackmore, Rod Evans, John Lord, Ian Pace, and Nick Simper. Okay, Mark II, July 69 through 73. Richie Blackmore, John Lord, Ian Pace, Ian Gillan, Roger Glover. Mark III, 73 through 75. Richie Blackmore, John Lord, Ian Pace, David Coverdale, and Glenn Hughes. Now, that's a powerful lineup. Mark IV, John Lord, Ian Pace, David Coverdale, Glenn Hughes, Tommy Bolin. Okay, now the band's inactive from 76 through 84. They come back with a reunion. Mark II. I don't know how it's Mark II, but okay. April 84 through December of 89. John Lord, Ian Pace, Richie Blackmore, Ian Gillan, Roger Glover. Mark V. John Lord, Ian Pace, Richie Blackmore, Roger Glover. Joe Lynn Turner now joins the band. Mark II second reunion. John Lord, Ian Pace, Richie Blackmore, Roger Glover, Ian Gillan. Mark VI, 93 to 94. John Lord, Ian Pace, Roger Glover, Ian Gillan, and Joe Satriani jumps in, and he's playing. Now you got Mark VII. John Lord, Ian Pace, Roger Glover, Ian Gillan, and Stephen Morse on guitar. I mean, Jeff, there's two more Marks. I mean, my problem is I don't care. Like, it's just too many versions, too many people. I think it's great. I always say it's always great when these guys can get back together and do something. Obviously, I guess Richie Blackmore's not joining full term, but I guess, would you consider this historic in the world of hard rock and metal?
What's historic?
Richie
Blackmore coming back tonight last night and playing?
Yeah, jumping on. Like, was that like what would you like? I don't know. I'm trying to think of what band and the guy jumping back on stage with them.
Well, no, there is no band other than Spinal Tap. Okay,
well,
that you can even compare it to make it serious, because there have been so many lineup changes.
Oh my God!
Here's my thing. One, I don't know if those guys all don't get along or not, so I don't know what the issue is, or if they left, because I know that Blackmore left for Rainbow,
right? And
then he came back a few times, and then he went back and forth between Rainbow. Then Rainbow stopped, and then he had his own band, Blackmore's Night, I think they were called. And they were playing like, I don't want to say medieval type folk music, but that's exactly what it is.
That's basically what it was, yeah.
And they were touring for quite some time. I know that Ian Gillan had his own band for a while, and like David Coverdale was in there, and it's, these guys, they were just like interchangeable parts. But here's the thing: name one song that David Coverdale recorded with Deep Purple. Name one song that Joe Lynn Turner recorded with them, or Joe Satriani, or Steve Morse, or Tommy Bolin, or some of these other guys that were in the band.
No idea.
They all are built and playing off of the old original Purple stuff. Correct. From the 60s and 70s. Although I will say the Perfect Stranger album, and I think it was 1983, 84, to me is an incredible album. I love that album. The great album. But that's me. Maybe you don't like it, maybe you don't. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, none of those other Marks, or whatever you want to call them, ever produced something like, oh shit, that's right. That was Joe Lynn Turner singing that. It's like, I couldn't tell you one song that he sang.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think it comes down to, it's a lot like a free agent in football. When these guys jump band to band, very rarely does it turn into a great band. Like, I'd be hard. I think the closest that I can think of off the top of my head is when somebody left one band to go to another, and wasn't even a band, but let's say Sammy Hagar leaving Sammy Hagar solo and joining Van Halen. They probably became a great band because they had a lot of big top 40 hits. I think the earlier stuff is much better, but they had some success. I can't think of too many places where Richie Blackmore, I'll say maybe Ronnie James Dio leaving Rainbow to go to Sabbath and vice versa. Maybe that can compare. There just aren't too many times where David Coverdale's leaving his band to go to Deep Purple and they became a better band and a bigger band. It just doesn't happen.
Well, I don't remember if David Coverdale was in Whitesnake first or if he went from Deep Purple to Whitesnake or vice versa. I don't know. I know that.
I think he was in Whitesnake first and then he went.
Yeah.
Almost positive.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to look it up because I'm pretty sure he wound up in Purple and it was the late 90s. But I could be dead wrong on that.
I don't know about that because I know that was that other album that came. Maybe it was the late 90s. I don't think so. But that was when they had
I'm wrong.
Vandenberg.
I am way off, Jeff. I am way off. Deep Purple 73 to 76. You're right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no. He didn't get the Whitesnake until 78. 78 to 83. Yeah, no, I'm dead wrong. I would have never, ever thought that. So, yeah. He was in Purple 73 to 76.
Okay, wow. Well, that's the answer for that.
Yeah, that answered that quick. Let's see. Trying to think what he I'm trying to see what he I'm trying to see what albums he did with them, but studio albums, Whitesnake 77. That's weird.
Well, Whitesnake, I know.
Oh, maybe he did Burn, Stormbringer, and Come Taste the Band with Deep Purple.
That really?
Yeah, those are 3 albums. I got it with his albums with Whitesnake or Trouble, Love Hunter, Ready and Willing, Come and Get It, Saints and Sinners, Slide It In, 1987, Slip of the Tongue, Restless Heart, Good to Be Bad, Forevermore, the Purple album, and Flesh and Blood. But he did 3 with Deep Purple. Spurn in 74, Stormbringer in 74, and Come Taste the Band in 75.
Come Taste the Band, huh?
That's what it says.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like Smell the Glove.
Yes. It's strange. But yeah, so again, not my favorite band. I like some songs. So I will say, but listen, I think anytime guys who have been estranged, kind of like the Sabbath guys getting back together and then playing the last one with the whole band, I think it's always big. Now, I'm not a Purple fan, so it doesn't mean the same to me, but I'm sure to some guys out there, who are big Purple fans.
Yeah, there's somebody out there right now like, wow, I can't believe that. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. And they're probably now talking like all he did was play, Smoke on the Water. I would have liked to have seen him play this or that, something else other than Smoke on the Water.
Yeah, I think it's big. And to me, when you get like I was just reading an article about Blaze Bayley. And to me, I know that the Blaze Bayley era of Iron Maiden, most Maiden fans don't like. I get it.
I don't like it.
Yeah, the albums aren't great. There's a couple of really good songs in there, and he's got a fantastic voice. It just didn't fit Iron Maiden. It just didn't fit. But that's okay. I like Blaze. But you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Blaze jump up on a stage at a festival or a show and seeing Blaze do a song or two here and there. Just, I think it's great to celebrate your era. I'm not telling you to have him on tour, certainly not. But I think it's cool. So Richie Blackmore jumping up there and playing a song or two, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, but Richie Blackmore as a original member is one
100%,
thing.
Yes.
Blaze Bayley coming up on tour and not being able to bring Paul Di'Anno out.
Well, I think that's a better example. Yes,
that's something. But I mean, we all know the reason you can't bring him out. And Frank Catalano, listen, bro. It's almost Christmas time. If you want to fuck off and not be ready, well, I choose to be ready. And actually, I have Christmas lights on my desk, and I was fixing them. I think it's speaking of Blaze Bayley. I'm gonna move over to Blaze Bayley and Maiden because that's why I have him on my sheet tonight. He had an interesting take, and it's probably not a popular one in Maiden world, but it's probably popular for you. And he says the real legacy of Iron Maiden is written with Paul Di'Anno, not
Bruce Dickinson. Now, I think we're both on a different ends of the spectrum on this. I love both eras. Both versions to me is great. But I kind of prefer the Dickinson Maiden to the Di'Anno Maiden, which I think you're on the other side of that. But I do get what Blaze is saying. They say there's no disrespect to Bruce, but there is no Iron Maiden today without Di'Anno, and he's got to be the legacy of Iron Maiden. What's your take on that?
I think Blaze Bayley's nuts, and there's something seriously wrong with him. While we wouldn't have Maiden today if it wasn't for Paul Di'Anno, I could go along with that. I kind of agree with you. I like the 2 albums with Paul Di'Anno are my favorites for a lot of different reasons, which I'm not going to get all too into here because it'll take too long to get through all of that. But you would be insane to say that, you can't appreciate the Bruce Dickinson era, of course. For me, while I like the Bruce Dickinson era, I like those 2 albums with Di'Anno better, but you can't take anything away. They were with Bruce Dickinson now for over 40 years, back and forth. And some of their albums, there's a few clunkers in there at the later end of their career, but the stuff that was on was on.
Oh, yeah.
And the songs, when you hear a great Bruce Dickinson song, you can't take nothing away from that.
Nope.
There's nothing you can take away from that. And I personally think that Bruce Dickinson just brought a different dimension to the band. He took them from, they were moving on from that punk type era in the second album in Killers from the first album. You heard it. You can hear it in the music. You can hear it in the vocal style. Sure. But Bruce Dickinson made them a metal band.
Absolutely.
And made the turn and then kept them moving forward.
Yeah.
And I just think that Steve Harris has a vision. And I don't think that Maiden is done. I just think that we don't like where he's taking the band. I think that they would still be able to hold their own nowadays. I just think that, listen, they're getting old, they're getting tired, and they have every right to do what they got to do. Bruce Dickinson still sounds incredible.
Yes.
And the band is still a high-powered machine.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't take anything away from them. But no. I also don't think that Blaze Bayley is the one that should be making this analogy and saying that.
Not disagreeing.
Shut the fuck up, Blaze. Go play with your chickens.
Exactly. Again, Hard Rock Sports. That's Jeff, and I'm Tom. I do want to bring up a little sadness. I got to bring into this a little bit here, Jeff, and that is, I was watching the Yankee Old Timers game on Saturday, which I got to tell you, I'll give the Mets credit. I think the Mets have really done a nice job the last few years with their Old Timers Day. The Yankees are trying. The problem is just the Yankee stars have disappeared. Now, I know Mariano was there and O'Neill's there, and there's some, Reggie's the star. It just doesn't have the same feel as it has in the years past. But I'm not even going to talk about that right now. What I want to talk about is Tommy John sent a letter and he asked the Yankees to have it read during Old Timers Day, and it was basically a goodbye letter. Tommy John is in hospice. And I wanted to mention, because Tommy John is one of my all-time favorite interviews we ever did here. Tommy John, besides being a great player, well underrated, 280-something wins, 26 years in baseball, played 15 years after getting his arm reconstructed. Just was one of the best, if not the best interviews ever. Told it like it was always accommodating. I mean,
yep. He was on more than once, correct?
I want to say he made 3 appearances, at least 2, maybe 3, and he was scheduled for 2 more. One I canceled and one they had to cancel because he got sick. But him and his wife couldn't have been nicer to our show. I am very sad to hear that he's not doing well. And I guess it's imminent that I think he's got bladder cancer, and that unfortunately Tommy may not be with us for long. But there's a guy whose legacy, Jeff, will probably be around for a very long time. And the problem is, most people don't realize when they hear their favorite pitchers getting Tommy John surgery that there was a player named Tommy John.
Yeah, of course. I remember when he was on the Dodgers, and when you watched him play, his whole wind up in motion looked like, well, he was an old man at the time, although like we were kids, and he was in his late 30s, early 40s as he was still playing by the time he got to the Yankees. And you would watch him throw the ball, and it would just be like, come on with this fucking guy. Let's throw the ball. He looked like an old throwback baseball player from the 50s and 60s.
Yep.
He wore the uniform a little baggy. He looked like he was always sweating from the minute he stepped out on the field. Like he just looked like he was there to play.
Yeah.
You know, probably had a pack of cigarettes in the locker. Maybe had a beer waiting for him when he came back in. You know, like definitely one of these guys that like, when I come back in, this is what I want in my locker. Pack of Marlboros, 2 beers, and a sandwich. I'll be a bologna sandwich with mustard and cheese. You know, something real plain and simple, because that's what he looked like. That was the kind of player he was. He was there to play baseball.
Yeah.
And it was a different era. And yeah, you're right. I believe he's not in the Hall of Fame, but I believe he has the most wins for a pitcher that's not in the Hall of Fame, with 288 wins or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like he was almost there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he won 20 games a few times. I don't know if he ever won a World Series. He was on the Dodgers teams that the Yankees beat in the World Series. Then he came to the Yankees and he got beat in the World Series at some point. And he spent a lot of time back and forth to the Yankees through the end of his career. And again, he won a lot of games. I mean, 26 years, 288 wins. The average isn't great, but when you consider what he went through and everything else, Tommy John had a fine career. I still have his book. He signed for me way back in the day, and it's just sad to see. And I think next week when we're not doing the show, I will post the interview with Tommy John, so people who didn't get a chance to see it can watch that interview. It's one of my favorites, right up there with Geezer and Lita Ford.
Why don't you try to reach out to him and just say hello from the Hard Rock and Sports Show? See if he just acknowledges the email or something, and like, what does it take to send him an email and just be like, you're in our thoughts, just to see if he responds.
I will. You know what, Jeff? When the show ends, I will send an email to him and his wife and offer our best wishes, and I will do that. So I think that's a good thought. That's a good thought. I didn't think to do that. That's something I will definitely do.
That would be definitely cool, and it would, hopefully maybe they just answer back and just be like, hey, thank you, and but it can't hurt, No,
I think it's a fantastic idea, and I will absolutely do that when the show ends tonight. I will send his wife an email from us. I will copy you on it. And so, guys, say your prayers. If you say prayers, say a little one for Tommy John, who gave us a lot of great baseball memories and a few memories here on the Hard Rock and Sports Show. I just thought that we got to get him on and mention him. So thank you, Jeff. That's another good thought. We don't talk WNBA very much, but I thought I'd throw it in there a little tonight.
Thank you.
I had to throw it in
Thank you.
I have to tell you, that might be the worst run league in all of sports. It's completely reliant on the NBA for money to keep it afloat. They have a genuine star player who has gotten and can get this league more eyeballs, making more money. They piss on her. And now they're completely enveloped in this trans person controversy, Jeff. And I think they've dug themselves a hole that they just can't get themselves out of.
Tom, I totally disagree.
Go ahead.
I totally disagree. I think that this is the greatest fucking thing that could ever possibly happen in the world in sports right now. I never knew there were this many transgender people playing in the NBA that want to transition over to the WNBA.
Yes.
I only hope that LeBron wants to come and finish his career in the WNBA, because the promos that these guys are cutting.
Oh, it's the best.
And they're saying, I swear, I hope that they're going to do whatever they can to get in there. The guy that was cut the promo with no shirt on, saying, considering himself transgender. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, this is fucking awesome. They're making a mockery of it all, and they have to please make them eligible for the draft. It's gonna be great. And I hope that the team with Caitlin Clark picks the best one of the bunch.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and they go undefeated. Never mind win the championship.
I mean, I give Sophie Cunningham a tremendous, credit for what she came out and said, hey, I don't care what you do with your life, but biological men should not play in women's sports. And the league came out and, we're diverse, this and that. And Enos Cantor Freedom and this other guy, Royce White, I think it is, Dave.
There's like 3 guys.
Yeah. And I hope and pray that somebody will draft these guys, and it would serve that league. I mean, first off, if you ever get 5 minutes, just Google, search WNBA All-Star Game 2026. It is some of the worst basketball. Our Kaltemeyer games after being drunk the night before are better than these games. It is the worst basketball. You can't make a layup shot. Nobody can make a shot. It is the worst basketball you ever watched. That these women are so wound up that they can't say, hey, we're all for however you want to live your life, but men can't play here. And this woman has the balls to say it. Maybe she has balls. I don't know. And now they're all coming down on her. And did you see the foul that she got hit with?
Yes, that she got mugged.
Yeah, and then for her coach not to have her back, that woman should have been fired immediately. But the problem is nobody in that league has got the cojones to do it. And I swear to you, Jeff, I'm with you. I hope that 10 guys who are out of the NBA all get drafted on teams next year, and it becomes the biggest mockery of all time.
I got to say this much. There are plenty of great women athletes across women's sports.
Correct.
Okay? There are great women hockey players. There are great women basketball players, golfers, tennis, everything, softball players. Whatever they want to play, good for them. And there should be a women's league, and it should be encouraged for women, because once women leave college, nobody cares about women's sports. So while I'm not a fan of the WNBA and I do not watch the WNBA, it is nice to see that these women have a place to go to after college. Okay, good for them. I'm happy for them. And I mean that.
Absolutely.
Why they would even entertain the thought of having a man come into the league as a transgender, okay, it's just unbelievable. You're making a mockery of your own league. And now men are making a mockery of your league by saying, I identify as transgender. And I think it's fucking great.
I think it's amazing.
I really do. But you know what? Be competitive. Stick up for your team. Do what you got to do. You have a couple of young players, big name players. You got Angel Reese. I know that she's like the bad girl of the league. Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, and a few others. So you're getting some recognition in your league, which is going to help it grow, and do what you got to do and make it interesting. Make people want to come watch you play or at least pay attention to it. It benefits you as a league. You're never gonna unseat the NBA. You're never gonna unseat some of the men's league. You're just not. Men are bigger, stronger, and faster than the women that play in the women's leagues, and it's okay. It's okay. You're gonna have an all-star game. Okay, don't let the final score be 37-33. Just make it happen, man. Make it happen.
I agree. It's sad. And tell me, listen, I can't watch the WNBA. It's terrible basketball. I don't care how great Caitlin Clark is. I don't care how great Sophie Cunningham is. And I can't watch it. It's just unwatchable basketball to me. And but again, go out there, enjoy yourself. If you get a chance to make money, if the NBA is willing to give you $50 million, $100 million a year to keep the league alive, good for you. There's a lot of young little girls out there who go to those games and they say, hey, maybe someday I'll play there. And I think it's tremendous. But
yeah,
but otherwise it's a joke and it's an embarrassment. If you're not a black lesbian, you're basically an outcast in that league. And that's the truth. I'm sorry to say it. If you're not a black lesbian, you're an outcast in that league. So
yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. It is. That's what it is.
But yet they want everybody to be, it's amazing how certain groups want everybody to be inclusive of their rights, but they never respect anybody else's rights. It's amazing.
You're 1,000% right.
It's the most amazing thing in the world. You're treading on my freedoms, but yet I'm not going to allow you to have any. I don't get it, Jeff. I never will. Don't care to. Yeah. And the last point of this, if women don't pay attention in these sports, there has been stories about a few years ago, the women national soccer team with the Megan Rapinos and all that, they were having a great run. They were winning World Cups and Olympic medals. And supposedly they played like a group of high school kids, like, seniors in high school, and got their heads handed to them by this group of young high school players. And it teaches you, and there are plenty of players out there, that, women who will say, I'm great, but if I played the worst, the 1,000th ranked men player as the number one tennis player in the world, I would get my head handed to them. I think that's the realistic, that you're right. Men are just superior physically. And for the most part, most women will not beat them in a sport. And,
I'll go as far as to say it depends on the sport. But, listen, when somebody's bigger, stronger, and faster than you, it's hard to beat them at a physical game.
Yep.
And listen, it's not a knock against women at all, because there were women's sports that people took a lot of interest in.
Sure.
And whether it was soccer, basketball, whatever, tennis, whatever it may be, there was a lot of women athletes that were getting attention.
Yep.
And it's just a shame that the people now are making a mockery of these leagues by saying, well, he was born a male, but now he's a woman. No, he's not a woman. He's just a man, a very confused man that had his dick removed or had tits put on.
Yes.
It's not good. It's not right to the women that are playing in those leagues. Let them play and let it just be women only. WNBA, Women's National Basketball Association. Yep. That is it.
Frankie, I only watch the Olympics and the World Cup, and then there's this other one they have, this European League one that I only watch the major. I don't watch regular soccer. The American leagues, even these big, the Premier League. I don't watch any of that. I like the Olympics. I love the World Cup. Any of those tournament style, I'm all in. The other regular soccer, no, I don't find it. The pressure's not there when you're playing 20-something games. It gets boring to me. I like the one and outs and the knockouts and all that. I think that's what I like. So I don't really watch soccer much. Jeff Rush is actually putting out a 50th anniversary edition of their concept album 2112.
Okay.
Is that do you consider that album a great Rush album?
Yeah, I would say definitely. Yeah. If they didn't put out 2112, I don't think that some of the other Rush albums would have come out the way they did. I think they needed to work through that. Every phase of Rush seemed to kind of be similar, but not, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
And they were growing and evolving as a band, but they were evolving within their own music, just getting bigger and better. And I think they needed to put out 2112 and get that era of Rush out there. Definitely, without a doubt.
What's funny with Rush? Very progressive. Trees and all those albums, all those songs are very progressive. They're long. A lot of them are long songs. A lot of kind of long instrumental parts to the songs. And what's weird is I love that for Rush, but when Maiden started doing it, I hate it. Like, I hate the progressive Maiden era. And it's still this. That's where it is now. I mean, that's all it is now. It's progressive, right? You know, Shinjitsu, forget. It's one Maiden album I don't own. I will probably never buy it unless I find it in a rack for like $3. Then I might pick it up. But the Rush, and I'm not big on concept albums. Some bands do it well. Rush obviously did. But even that album, sometimes I have a hard time going end to end on that album.
It's not a long album.
Yes, and you know, it kind of obviously it's concept, so it goes in. It's all intertwined, and you know the story's great. Temple of Syrinx has always been one of my favorite songs. So I'm not running out to buy it. I think I own a copy of the original, but you know, I just want. I sat back and wondered, like, where would I place that in the world of Rush? Would I put that
six songs, 39 minutes long?
Yeah. Would you count that in the top 5 Rush albums of all time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, you know, Permanent Waves and Hemispheres and you know, Moving Pictures, boom. You know, then you can go back to some of the earlier stuff. Boy, oh boy. I don't know if it would make my top 5. It's up there.
I don't know. I got to say, I think the Signals came out in 1982. I kind of lost it after 1982.
I agree. I would agree. Yeah.
Well, there was some good stuff. I think like Presto was a decent album with Show Don't Tell, and Roll the Bones wasn't a bad album, but they weren't like I couldn't just put them on and listen to them. Moving Pictures, you could listen to the whole album. Farewell to Kings, same thing. Listen to the whole album. All of that stuff is great stuff. But for me, I don't know. Rush, I was not the biggest Rush fan. It wasn't heavy enough.
Yeah,
for me.
I love the first album's good. Okay. Fly By Night it's a good album. So Crest of Steel is okay. Farewell to Kings. Hemisphere is great. Permanent Waves is great. Moving Pictures is great. Signals is okay. Power Windows, Hold Your Fire, Presto, Roll the Bones. There's some good stuff up there. After that, I bought Snakes and Arrows, not great. Clockwork Angels, I bought that. It was okay. But those first few albums, I mean, Fly By Night, Caress of Steel, maybe 2112. Yeah, it may creep into my top 5. It may just be outside of it. It's amazing how band to band your music change. Because again, when Maiden went progressive, hated it. Rush is basically a progressive rock band, and maybe heavyish, but I love their stuff, and I love those early albums. I mean, just phenomenal as a concept. Yeah, Singles. I agree, Tom. Yeah, there's some good stuff. I mean, to me, Moving Pictures will always be my favorite Rush album because it's the first one I ever got.
Yeah, you know who Jerry Brusco had Rush albums before I did, and he had Permanent Waves.
Yes,
and I remember him like I remember seeing it. I don't think we ever really listened to it in his house. You know, I don't remember that
unless we stole it. We might have wound up in our house.
So I got to take a quick leak. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so I the Rush stuff, and then talking about new stuff. I don't know. I have a hard time with everybody's new stuff, and I do want to talk about Motley Crue and backing tracks when Jeff comes back. Matt Salici was all over the fact how great Motley Crue was in their show. He loved it. He says it. So I want to talk about that. But as far as Rush goes, I just don't know if I want any more new stuff. I love the fact that they had the new drummer and those guys are still playing well. I don't know about anybody else, but that's why Priest kind of puts out good records because they stay the same. Yeah, Frankie, I will agree with you. Not the greatest albums in the world, but it's all stays in the same vein of Judas Priest. Like they don't try to do anything different. Like, they're not Maiden or even Metallica who have these different era stuff and they try things differently. Priest is still writing the same exact stuff. It's not as great, but there are some good stuff on it, but it still sounds like Priest. Like if you put on their stuff, you still hear the same twin guitars. You still hear that the same, kind of concept of the songs. So I give Priest a lot of credit. Again, I don't think it's great by any stretch, but you can find some good stuff on there. But I wish Maiden would go back and say, let me go back to Number of the Beast or Peace of Mind and write stuff in that vein. I don't know if they can, but I would love to hear that again in my life. Priest is still writing that stuff. It's just not great. I guess you just run out of ideas, and it's harder after 50 years of writing music to be different in the same. AC/DC tries it. That's another band. AC/DC will die being AC/DC, and I love it. They don't try to be anything different. They write the same way, the same type of music. It all sounds the same. There are very few bands who do that. They try to come up with new sound, and I say, why? You're successful. Why would you change it? AC/DC is definitely a band that tries to be that way. Rush is a band that tries to be that way. There's a few out there. And Judas Priest is a good call, Frankie, on that one. Yeah, I'm not a Stones fan, but yes, the Rolling Stones write to sound like the Rolling Stones. And that's the problem I never understood with bands is why you're successful, you have a style. Why change that? Like all of a sudden he goes, oh, I don't want style. We're the Rolling Stones. Let's not sound like the Rolling Stones. Why not? You can write different music but sound the same, and that a lot of bands have done it. Bands like the Cars, obviously the Beatles, until they got the psychedelic shit. But yeah, a lot of bands, they just go out there. I mean, just go out there and write what's successful, and I think that's what's great about any band is where you can stay inside your style, Jeff, like an AC/DC. AC/DC, every album is the same style, just different.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on.
Every single AC/DC, every single album is the same.
Okay,
fair. Every single album is the same.
That's fair enough.
I had to read the comments, but I got to agree with Frank Catalano with something that he said.
Which
the Denver sucks. No, that's not it. Another thing. That's why Priest still kind of puts out good records. Yes, because when Priest puts out an album, it's not the same album as some bands put out. They still have the ability to write. Why? They got 2 new guitar players.
Yeah.
They got different. They got new blood coming to the band, so they have fresh ideas. When you have Maiden, and I don't know how the songwriting is broken down in Maiden now.
Yeah.
But, you got Steve Harris writing songs for Maiden for over 50 years. Dave Murray's been in there since the beginning, over 50 years. Adrian Smith has been in and out of the band. Yannick Years has been there now for over 30 years. Bruce Dickinson's been there for the better part of 40 years.
Yep.
So you got guys that are working together and performing together and everything else. They're going to run out of fresh ideas. It's just inevitable. It's going to happen. You have a style of music about you, and you're writing within the style. It's like you're not all of a sudden going to get a great idea. Some of these Maiden albums have already proven that, don't you think?
Yes, but you can still write newer stuff in the same style and sound without blowing it up. Like you don't have to put out a Metallica album that doesn't sound anything like Metallica. So when to me that's the true mark. Now whether they're great albums doesn't mean it has to be a good or a bad album, but you keep it in your style. Like Frankie said with the Stones, like you said with AC/DC.
Yeah, but
I can hear any AC/DC song and know it's AC/DC. Doesn't mean the song's great.
Think about what you're just saying, right? And just use that comparison to Maiden.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to want to hear a new Stones album. Nobody's like, oh my God, the Stones are putting out an album.
Absolutely not.
The next Brown Sugar is coming out.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear it. AC/DC, okay, they're a little different. They're not as high up as Metallica or Maiden. But when bands start putting out albums that sound the same or that there's no fresh ideas, you just said it yourself that you wouldn't want Senjutsu. You have no interest in buying it or listening to it. Neither do I.
Yeah.
I still have yet, out of Frankie, I don't know if you want to chime in on this. I have still not listened to the latest of Metallica album, 72 Seasons. I just can't bring myself to do it.
Me
I
either.
can't listen to Hardwired either. I just don't like it.
I listen to Hardwire. I own Hardwire. It's not terrible. It's a good attempt at trying to sound like Metallica again. It's a good attempt.
Yeah, but it's
a good attempt. I'm just saying it's not one of their radical. There'll be no snare drum in this one. This one we're not doing no guitar solos. Like, why not? It worked for you for 100 years. Do the same, Jeff. It's not writing the same music. You can write different songs, but you stay within your band sound and style and still be fresh. Again, I'm with you. New ideas are always great, but keep it to where you are and what you do. That's just my opinion. I know it's not for everybody that way, but for me,
right now, right, James Hetfield was born in 1963. He's 63 years old. Okay. Now, if he worked in the real world, he'd be retired for about a year collecting Social Security.
Very possible.
Okay. So now you can't tell me that James Hetfield at 63 has the same mindset that he did at 23.
No.
When you were writing songs on the first album, Hit the Light, Seek and Destroy, Metal Militia, The Four Horsemen, that was something that we all grew up on. And no matter what they put out, that album, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, we've heard those albums now for over 40 years, and we still listen to them. The new albums are going to be like, they're nothing at all like that old stuff. And they can't come up with the same material. They're getting older. It is what it is. It's a progression of life. Not many bands continue to put out albums for 40 years and everybody's like, this is fucking awesome. People may want to go see them play, but they don't want to hear the newer stuff. They don't want to hear the classical old stuff.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think there's some validity to all of it. I just think you can write new material, but it could still sound like the band style and sound. To me, like I wouldn't want to hear an AC/DC song that's got all sorts of keyboards and synths and all this other crap, and a 12-minute song. Give me AC/DC, bare bones. Same thing for the Stones. Would I love to see more Maiden or Metallica in the old school? It's never going to happen. They've moved on from that. They've matured
of course. James Hetfield tries to sing now. He can't sing.
Yes.
He just used to go out there and growl on those early albums. He sings now. And Frank, I saw what you wrote about Pat Benatar and her husband.
Yeah.
I don't think that her husband should have, other than being her husband, it's Pat Benatar. It ain't Pat Benatar. I understand it's Pat Benatar and her husband, Neil Girardo, but nobody gives a fuck about him and what he's doing. It's Pat Benatar. That's what they're there for. No, I mean, that's how I see it.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if they were, I see they were too political. I don't know if that means they were spewing politics on stage, which to me, I don't want to hear. And I mean that. I don't want to go there and see, even if somebody's out there.
Brian Adams annoyed you or Pat Benatar's husband?
Yeah, I'm not sure which one. Even if they're espousing stuff that I agree with, I don't want to go to a concert to hear about politics. If I want to go to a political speech, debate, rally, I'm all for it. But if I'm going to see Iron Maiden or I'm going to see Judas Priest, I don't want to hear about politics. I want to hear about music. And
I don't think that Maiden, to be honest with you, would be one to get into politics much.
His Sing 51 State. I don't know what that means.
Who was singing the song, Frank? Brian Adams or was it Pat Benatar's song? We're not picking up what you're putting down.
So I think it's Brian Adams and Pat Benatar's husband, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But again, we're closing in on the end of the show, guys. Brian Adams, yeah. Again, I like one or two Brian Adams songs.
Isn't he fucking Canadian, Brian Adams?
I think he is, yeah.
They don't even have a government up there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't want to go to again. Even if they want to stand up there and tell me things that I agree with, I don't. It's not fair to everybody who doesn't agree with it. One, two, I don't want to hear it. Like I get enough politics all day long. Let me go to a concert and have a good time and relax. And I know there was a time where supposedly I have to go back and look it up. That Dickinson was very anti-Americanish. I do remember it back in the early 2000s where he got in trouble saying a couple bad things about America. So I'd have to look it up though.
I never heard it.
State and Neil Giraldo's a dick. Yeah, okay, I agree with all. I'd have to agree. Like I said, I'm not a big Bryan Adams fan. I like a song or two. But I certainly don't want to go to a concert and have to listen to talk about his politics. So. But, Jeff, we got to wind this one down. We got about 4 minutes. Otherwise, I don't get to give my clips. It's been fun. It went fast. I still have a bunch of stuff we didn't get to. I'll save it for the next show, which will be in 2 weeks, folks. I am not around next week. So we will be skipping next week and come back. And we should just about be getting ready for the launch of the NFL season. So stay, make sure you come back in 2 weeks and join Jeff and I. And, of course, opening night of, it's not the opening night anymore. But the first Thursday game, we'll be on the air and we'll give all our predictions and we'll do a lot of basically an all NFL show. So, but I thank Frankie and Anthony and everybody else who chimed in. My best to my buddy Jeff, and I appreciate him as always coming on and really carrying the show tonight. This was good when he had a couple big segments, so it's very good. And thanks to my dad and everybody else for tuning in. Jeff, anything coming up? I know you got the. You got the Labor Day show coming up, right? You guys play every year. You and
we got 3 shows. I know we have one at the end of August, I think, or beginning of September. I'm trying to get the dates. Just give me a second here, and I'll get you the dates.
So 25 missions would be what, the 6th? That Sunday you were playing?
No, September 5th at the county fair, Richmond County Fair.
Okay.
September 19th at Rab's Bowling Alley. We're playing a benefit there.
Nice.
And then October 3rd at Paradise Island. We're playing there also. That's what we have on tap. And then the other band.
I saw that. I saw the new band. I saw that on online.
Yeah, Jukebox Wanderers. We've been at it for far too long, and we're trying to light a fire under it now and put it into high gear. We should have been out playing already. Everybody went on their summer vacation. We came back. We're hungry and we want to play before. Look, I want to play before I'm too old to play. So I want to get out there and have some fun.
Well, good for you. I'm make sure everybody gets out there, checks out Jeff and his bands, and of course come back in 2 weeks when we get back together and we do this all over again. So. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Please stay safe. Go enjoy your football. There's plenty of it on this weekend now, and it'll be riding it out through February. So enjoy it. Bet on it. Do what you got to do. Matt Salitri is a communist. I'll keep saying it. He doesn't agree with me, but Matt's a communist.
Why is Matt a communist?
He's a communist.
Why?
I just feel he's a communist.
But why? But what? Well, tell me what it is. Real quick, tell me what he doesn't agree with.
Matt and I differ. Matt hates for the sake of hating. And I always feel like if you dislike something, have a reason for it. When you're a grown man.
Matt doesn't like Trump and you are against that.
No, I'm for it. But if I say to you, why don't you like Trump? Because what? Because. Okay.
I got to admit, there's a lot of becauses there as of late, man.
Yeah, all right, so throw him out there. You can tell me I hate his policies. But when I say, well, okay, I got you. I was confronted with 2 choices. The one was a person who couldn't speak. You voted for the other guy who couldn't think. I'll take the guy that at least puts 2 coherent sentences together. But Matt's a communist. I love him, but he's still a communist.
Oh, well, listen, whatever. It's 9:00.
Yes.
I know you want to get your clip, so go do what you need to do.
Let's get the show off, Jeff. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody. We'll see you later. Remember, Hard Rocket Sports, we're here every week, every Thursday night, except next week. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and a great next week. And Jeff and I will see you in 2 weeks. Hefe, I'll talk to you off the air.
You got it, man. Be good, bro.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.